Hi guys, today we're learning about rational exponents. So things you already know, but we're going to look at it in a different form now. So rational exponents are a way to write roots and powers. So for example, you'll see, so n and m will be numbers. You'll see the nth root of x to the m power. Okay, so it's also written as a fraction, which is your m goes on the top and your n goes on the bottom. Okay. So therefore, roots can be written as exponents by applying that fractional exponent is power over root. So exponent over what the root is. So if we look at example 1 here, where it wants us to rewrite the expression using rational exponents. So if we are looking at our example above, okay, this number is going to be the bottom part of my fraction, so it would be 14 to the 1/4 power, okay? Since you don't see a number there, we always assume it's 1. So it would be 1 over 4, and we would write it 14 to the 1/4 power. For number 2, now they've given it to us, okay? They've given us a number on the outside, and we have to the 7th root. So I would write it as 5 to the 2/7. Example 3, it shows you a little different. So now they don't have the parentheses. They just have the square root of 3 to the 11th power. So you would write it as 3 to the 11 over 2. Okay, so now that 11 becomes still your power. Okay, now we are going to rewrite the expression using radical notation. Okay, so if I have example 4, 6 to the 1/3 power, okay, it would be 1 on the outside, okay? So technically you don't even have to write the 1 because it is 1, okay? And then my root on the inside of the square, on the inside of the radical, okay? So it would be the cube root of 6, and that is all you have to do. Example 5, okay, so I have 3 and 7. 7 is going to be my root, okay, 10, and you can write it all to the power of 3, okay? Or you could write it as the 7th root of 10 to the 3rd power, okay? Either or is totally fine. Whatever way you feel comfortable writing it, that is totally okay. Okay, example 6. Same kind of thing. I'm going the square root 5. Again, we can write it in parentheses. 3 goes on the outside. That's my power. Or I could write it the square root. Okay. Again, we don't normally see the 2 because we always know that the radical is the square root if there's no number there. So, or you could write it as same thing. All right. Both of those answers are acceptable. All right, back to simplifying an expression here. So the square root of 81, that is a perfect square. 9 times 9 gives me 81. Now I'm looking for the 4th root of 81. So if you broke that down into a factor tree and got 9 and 9, 9's break down into 3 and 3. Because it is the 4th root, and you see that 4 right there, okay? We are looking for groups of 4, which you have. A group of 4 right here, meaning 81 is a perfect 4th root 2 to give me an answer of 3. All right, the cube root of negative 27. I'm going to break it down. 9 times 3 and 3 times 3. So that is also a perfect root. 27, we're just going to write the I out, okay? or negative 27, we're going to write the I out. Give me 3i because it's a perfect cube root. Here's my group of 3 right there. All right, example 10. Going outside over inside, so I have 9. It is a square root because 2 is on the bottom. Have my 3 on the inside. If you simplified it, okay, remember, or you could see it as, all right, because it's the square root of 9. Let's look at it like this. The square root of 9 is 3. Cubed would be 27. And that is how you get that answer. So that's why it's a little easier to write it this way. Okay. So you would have to do the square root part first. So the square root of 9 is 3. And then you have to cube that to give you your final answer of 27. Example 11, I have negative 64 to the 2/3 power. So if I wrote this out, I have the cube root of negative 64. I'm going to leave it as squared. So see what 64 breaks down into. I know it breaks down into 8 and 8, which breaks down into 4 and 2, and 2 and 2. So there is a group of 3 there and a group of 3 there, looking for a perfect cube. Okay, so 2 times 2, because I'm pulling out 2 groups of 2, would give me 4. And bring out that I because of that negative. And then I need to square that. So 4 squared is going to give me 16. Here's a little catch where things get a little tricky, okay? So because that I is a negative, so if I had a negative here and I squared it, okay, if I left it as a negative, okay, negative 4 squared would still make it a positive 16, okay? We would no longer have the I. So for these problems, we are actually just going to bring the negative out and not think about the i's, okay? Especially when it is an odd number, okay? So if you have any questions about that, let me know. If you don't, have a great day and get your assignment done.